here, the person appointed to fill the vacancy shall hold office only until the next regularly scheduled election. In this case, it's November 6, 2018 is the next regularly scheduled election. And then this seat would be up for election like the regular election process. Like I said before, there's one applicant. The applicant's name is Pat Carr. And we have the application there in front of you. And tonight you're looking at how you might score the applicant and have an interview and then tally and make a decision. So that's what's coming up. And really the next agenda item is the interview time.
Okay, well, welcome, Mr. Carr. There'll be it'll probably take about 20 minutes. We'll take about 20 minutes for this. There's a series of 10 questions, and we'll each take turns going down that. So,
would you like me to stand at the podium?
We would really, do you mind?
I can get the blood circulating and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, sure.
That would be wonderful.
Very good.
You. Okay, we're going to start from this end and each take a question, and then after Rayola's finished, go back to Rob again. So Rob, would you like to start with question number one?
So the first question that we elected to ask was, why would you like to be a member of the Board of Trustees?
There is in our family a long-standing tradition of service for others. Educationally, I went to Santa Clara University, which is a Jesuit university, and one of the key aspects of their whole curriculum was to be a person for others. And there is a tradition that has abided in our family for 3-4 generations in this county, starting with my great-grandfather out in Millville, as an attorney and a teacher out there, as well as principal at Shasta City, or Old Shasta, if you will. And I just feel strongly that our time on this earth is short and valuable, and it's important that we make best use of that time. I serve on 2 other boards right now, Lassen Park Foundation and the Shasta Historical Society. Prior to that, Friends of Whiskeytown, and went through the chairs at the Reading Elks Lodge and served as exalted ruler there. So personally, there's been a tradition on my part to take time to give back to the community. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Thank you.
I bet.
Hi, how you doing, Scott?
Matter of fact, that pretty much answers question number 2. But if you'd like to expound some.
Is it a history thing?
No, it's please describe your public service and community involvement. And you just did, sir.
Yeah, I actually also, I worked 4 years in the military and service in Vietnam and U.S. Army Europe for a couple of years as an officer in the Army. Went through Officer Candidate School at Fort Eustis, Virginia, and spent 4 years right out of college in military duty, and then later served the state for Caltrans in their new technology and research group in Sacramento, and then down in District 4 in Oakland, working in mass transit, and also I served as Deputy District Director for External Affairs for the Bay Area. And then back up here. And my special area of contribution, I think, was to develop strategic plans for technology insertion into the highway infrastructure, as well as mass transit and local transit types of applications. So on a broader plane, I've been involved, served as president of the Parish Council for St. Jude's Catholic Parish up in Redmond, Washington. Also up there, I served on the Lake Washington Schools Foundation Board, as well as Junior Achievement of Greater Puget Sound, member of the Washington World Affairs Fellows, and also served on the marketing committee for the American Electronics Association for this Puget Sound area. So pretty much wherever I've gone, I've tried to at least, dip my oar a little bit in the water of civic involvement. Does that answer your question?
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Carr, what is your understanding of the mission of the community colleges in California, and specifically the mission of the Shasta-Tehama Trinity Joint Community College District?
Well, it's contributing to the community, and I was reading the mission statement of the board here, which is actually the college itself: social development, cultural development, creative development, intellectual development, and economic development. And that's that 5-part mission statement, if you will, revolving around what the mission of the college is critical. And what I find really intriguing is the geographic scope of the district itself, that it pretty much like Reading is for the North State, Reading is sort of the professional, legal and medical hub of the North State, if you will. And I look at this community college district as being the magnet for providing education, everything from vocational kinds of applications to providing a cost-effective preparation arena for people that are looking to move on for a 4-year degree after here, or just to enhance their own intellectual awareness. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Carr. What do you see as the major issues facing the community colleges in the next 2 years?
I think especially up here, if you look at the demographics of the 10 northern counties, and you start looking at where we are relative to state averages, my recollection is that for the 10 northern counties, probably from Colusa County all the way to the Oregon border, the percent of population with that's 25 years or older with a college degree is about 19%, and the statewide average is 30%. And if you look at Santa Clara County, which probably has a couple of million people in the county itself, and a lot of them are immigrant population, people that have come here, and it's sort of a mixed bag. If you go to East San Jose, you'll probably find there are a lot of economically challenged kinds of population sectors there. But Santa Clara County is 46%. Now, obviously it's Silicon Valley, but I sort of look at, from a competitive standpoint, where is the North State? And oftentimes you sort of reflect on where are we now versus where have we been in this county. And it's, to me, I think we have major challenges around getting back on board from an economic development standpoint. And to me, the primary engine for doing that, and the horse to get ahead of the cart, is education, and having attractive educational facilities that attract tech firms and basically the industrial future of our country based on what's happening in technology sectors. And we've got some challenges, and I think the country has some challenges as well with the insertion of robotic technologies and the like, which are labor displacing, and to the extent that we can be sort of a futuristic, visionary kind of a body, we can leverage some of the challenges that have created, I think, for a lot of the northern counties, a real challenge. We're sort of a way stop between Seattle and Los Angeles, and we're heavy into service industry kinds of jobs that are probably to a great degree not paying a lot of money. And in order to bring up the average income of our population, I think there are some real strategic issues, especially around planning for the future and the offerings that colleges put forward, and as well as our county supervisors and the like. And it's not just Shasta and Tehama and Trinity. It's everything from Colusa County all the way to Oregon. Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
That's great, thank you.
Okay, please explain the understanding of the differences between the role of the executive officers and the role of the board.
Well, the board hires the executive officers. There's probably some parallelism between the way that we're organized as a country, you know, in our constitutional framework. I always try to simplify it by saying the legislature represents the will of the people, and the executive branch executes the will of the people as defined by the legislature. And to a great degree, the strategic vision, laying out the mission statement, which was approved June 14th of this year by this board, lays out the scope of the mission itself, such that it gives a little better blueprint for the executive branch of the college, Dr. Weiss and his staff and the faculty, to where they can comply with the vision. But I see to a great degree that the board is a visionary and an oversight body that assures that taxpayers are getting a good quality product for their money, and that things are run in accordance with the law, that people that come here are challenged intellectually, and that this is a driver for, you know, economic development as well as just intellectual enhancement of the local community. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, sir, I've got another question for you there. How would you respond to a concern from a student, a staff member, a community member about any part of the college operation?
Any part. Like, the toilets aren't working and the men's room over in the library, da-da-da-da-da. Or I just don't feel like that faculty member is, you know, giving me my money's worth when I come in there and dedicate my time. And there are quality issues. You know, there's a variety of things that probably any one of us could be hearing from students, or probably even faculty to a degree. And it's a question of, the way I would approach it is to not try to one-off. We're a board, you know, and if that's the case, then it's time for all of us to talk about it and to share the feedback with the people that may be the direct targets of that feedback, such that it's a collaborative kind of a problem-solving approach, rather than simply all of a sudden something coming out, you know, over the transom and everybody wondering how the heck did that happen. So no surprises, you surface the issue and you deal with it as a team. Is that okay?
Okay, Pat, please describe what personal skills would make you an asset to the board.
Well, I don't know if personal skills so much as personal qualities, and I think I'm a pretty honest person. I talk too much sometimes, especially my wife will attest to that. But after 48 years, she just sort of looks at the ceiling and walks off. So, but as far as the skill sets, I think some of them that I've learned, I've worked for 3 Fortune 500 companies and was in strategic planning as well as operations analysis for those 3 companies. One of them was an aerospace firm, and the other 2 were container shipping lines. And at Caltrans, I worked in strategic planning as well for technology-based kinds of applications. I'm a halfway decent writer. I think I have to be, you know, discipline myself from time to time to cut it short. Not to wallow in the exuberance of my verbosity, okay? But at the same time, and I think I'm fairly congenial and pretty easy to get to know. And I'm very conscientious. I think the record shows that.
Yeah, thanks.
We're down to question number 8 out of 10.
Out of 10? Okay, oh, everybody gets 2. That's exciting. Okay.
What steps would you take to provide quality educational opportunities for all students of the 10,000 square mile district?
The first part again?
What steps would you take to provide quality education?
It's like I spent a little stint in sales, okay? And before I ever took up any of my customers' time, I learned this over time. I would try to envision them watching me walk up the walk to their office and saying, oh brother, here he comes. Every time he comes in here, it's all about him. And I don't get anything for it. And, you know, and if that was the case, and if I thought that there was nothing of value that I had to leave with that person, I would cancel the sales call. I might also envision the guy saying, you know, this is really great. Every time Carr comes in here, he leaves me something of value. And it's just like a good homily on Sunday morning. It's a question of what is it of value that the congregation walks away with that they can apply in their daily lives. And, you know, a lot of that is what we're talking about in sort of our crazy political spectrum right now, and that is lots of surveys, you know, and what do the surveys say? And how good are we at really sort of analyzing who is the customer, what are their needs, what are their wants, and the needs ain't necessarily what their wants are, you know, and then striking a balance to say we've only got so many, so many beans in the can. How do we take those scarce resources and optimize the offerings that we were able to put forward based on the budget? Is that?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Please tell us how you will handle the time commitment required of a board member.
Fortuitously, I'm retired, but okay. At the same time, though, I do have other commitments, and I have a wife who keeps saying, when do the golden years start? You know, and we're now trucking along in our 70s. And I think it's, but at the same time, this is something that if she wasn't up for this, I wouldn't do it. And I didn't even get any kind of a, what, how much time is this gonna take? So I think so long as she's with it, I've got the time and we'll make it happen. And if I can't, I'll let everybody know and back out, okay?
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is the conclusion, and we would like to know if you have anything that you would like to ask us, and is there any additional information that you would like to provide?
Well, I guess I'm always sort of curious when I see the board and say, why are you here? You know, what was your vision? And I've known Scott over my lifetime. You knew Mom, okay, through Historical Society and that. But I'm always sort of curious as to what drove each of you to make a commitment of your scarce and valuable time. You know, and have you found, what I'd like to know from each of you is, do you feel satisfied that what you set out to do and what your vision was for this job, has this been fulfilling? You know, and are you satisfied? Because a good team basically is composed of everybody feeling like this is time well spent. So, I don't know, I guess there's sort of a, I look at interviews anymore as a two-way conversation, and it's one that probably would take up too much time for everybody to respond now, but I'd really like to know, you know, each of you better, and to find out if in fact this has, you know, fulfilled your expectations. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Good. And thank you so much for considering me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you can have a seat for a
Thank you.
moment, relax. Now that the candidate interview has been completed, a roll call vote is required to provisionally appoint the trustee for Area B. Andre.
Madam President, point of order. According to the minutes of the June 5th meeting, on page 8 of our agenda today, it said it was moved by Mr. Swinneman and seconded by Dr. Lineman to acknowledge the resignation of Dwayne K. Miller as Area B trustees effective July 3rd. And then it mentions, on page 9, it was moved by Dr. Lineman and seconded by Mr. Pearson to make a provisional appointment to the governing board for trustees Area B on July 3rd, 2017. Today is July 12th, I believe.
Yeah,
These are
that's
effective July 3rd, not that the appointments made July 3rd.
Yeah, that's a typo in the minutes. We'll have to correct that before you approve the minutes.
Okay, so noted.
But that correction hasn't been made yet?
No, we'll make
We're making it now.
Can you
No.
make it before you?
Point of order, if you want public comment at the end, there's a place for that.
Well,
Okay.
I'm making a point of order about rules,
Okay.
procedures.
We'll save your comment till the public comment time.
Do we need
This
a
isn't
motion?
agendized to be approved until later tonight. These
I see his point, that
minutes. Right.
if in fact, the minutes, we kind of got a little catch-22 here. We can't proceed with this until we proceed with that. We can't proceed with that until we proceed with this.
No, what happened was at the meeting, you acted on a motion, and the motion has a typo in it here. This wasn't the motion you acted on at the meeting.
That's correct.
So
So
what
we
you
need to-
acted on was correct, and it just needs to be corrected when the minutes get approved.
Okay, that makes sense.
Was that the assumption by those 5 board members?
Yes.
Are they all here?
No, I was not there.
Are there ones that was there that are not here?
So
Would that change the vote?
I feel like we could go ahead and continue with the roll call vote now.
Unless I'm mistaken here, we do have a quorum of the individuals who were present at that board
You
meeting.
do.
To say that that was in fact, as Dr. Weiss pointed out, what the motion was. The motion was
Yeah.
misprinted in the minutes.
Should we amend that typo, Joe, right now?
No, we
No,
can't.
because it's not agendized till the
We
next
can't,
meeting.
that's correct. But what we can say is, that is an incorrect recollection of how the meeting went, and what we actually had intended has been stated, and we can act on that intent.
We can reset this meeting, can't we? And then reopen it after we have corrected it?
I don't think there's a reason to,
Okay.
because these aren't approved minutes yet.
So what's the process now? We can go ahead and,
Process now is a roll call vote to approve this.
I believe according to Brown Act, I can ask for you to suspend the meeting and to get an official ruling on that.
I think that we're just gonna proceed with the roll call vote.
In an effort to make sure that we have this correct, can you cite chapter and verse of the Brown Act that refers to this?
I know, but we can go online and look it up.
I believe in the interest of
The
serving.
only thing that
community.
happened was we accidentally inserted July 3rd, 2017 in that motion.
I believe in the interest of expediency and actually having a board position filled, rather than pursuing this, I think we'd be better off finishing this procedure here and, make a note that there was a question and a potential exception to what we're doing, and we will see where we go from here. Does that make sense to the rest of the
Yes,
board?
it
Yes.
does. Okay, we will proceed on.
Thank you, I appreciate you bringing that up.
Dr. Lyden,
Approved.
Ms. Nair,
Approved?
Mrs. Pratt,
Approved.
Mr. Steinecker,
Approved.
Mr. Swindon.
Approved. Welcome, Pat.
Yes, Mr. Carr?
It happened?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Carr, you have been provisionally appointed to the office of the governing board member of the Shasta, Tehama Trinity Joint Community College District, trustee Area B, until the next regularly scheduled election for district governing board members, which will take place on November 6, 2018. This appointment is effective immediately. I will now administer the oath of office. Please repeat after me. I, please state your name,
I, Patrick Carr,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Would you like to take your position at the board?
Well, thank you.
Please, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think,
Thank you. Well, thank you. Yes.
congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And well, I think there is
Bob. Thank you.
5, comments from individual members of the board. Number 6, comments from the audience.
I just want to welcome Pat.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Lawrence.
you.
Number 7, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion by Scott, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. We will go right into our next special meeting of the board.
Not for
No.
2 or 3
Oh,
minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, everyone knows.
Is that great?
Okay. Oh, great, okay. Okay. This is the correct, I had the, I was looking at the 2011
Okay.
online, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So,
This is,
very good, this is now
yeah,
the
that's
gospel,
it.
okay.
That's, so that would be finalized.
Super.
This is just
Oh,
directory.
great,
for,
thank you.
Has our location.
You can if you want to, but in the regular board meetings.
CCLC, it also says our location.
Okay,
Yeah.
Here's the agenda. This is the regular meeting.
for the regular meeting, okay.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
Come in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your name can't be Emily.
No.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
My name's Evan.
Hey,
Evan,
Evan.
that's right.
I'm Scott. Well,
Pleasure to meet you.
thanks, and I'll meet you.
Thank you very much.
Evan, what's your last name?
Weston.
What?
Weston,
Weston.
W-E-S-T-O-N.
Thank you.
Chris, how's your summer? Really busy.
Really?
Yeah.
Taking classes or?
No, I have a new job, so
Oh, okay. What are you doing?
I'm working for a truck body company in welding and manufacturing.
Practice the relax.
Is it TIG welding, MIG welding?
Right now it's MIG, but there's a lot of like electrical work,
That's okay.
general fabrication. So not like a ton of welding, but a lot of like building.
Is it out in Red Bluff?
It's Reading, off of Caterpillar.
Okay, very cool. It's a great job.
I like it. It's hot.
Yeah, no, in the seat too. Good.
Actually, this are you available next week? Are you local? Yes. If you're around, I can give you a call next week. Okay, perfect.
Call to order the special meeting of the Board of Trustees, Wednesday, July 12th, 2017. Roll call.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Dr. Lighty?
Present.
Ms. Nair?
Here.
Mr. Pearson? Ms. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Steinecker?
Here.
Mr. Swinderman?
Here.
Mr. Evan?
Here.
His name's Weston. Evan Weston.
Oh, Evan Watson, sorry.
Okay, not a problem. First meeting, so
Excuse me.
Call for request from the audience to speak to any item on the agenda. Hearing none. Discussion. There's, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And these are all for the regular agenda.
Yeah,
right?
this is-
Oh, I'm sorry, we're just speaking special agenda, apologies.
Okay. Discussion action agenda 4.1, certification of Shasta College's self-study report for accreditation purposes. Dr. White.
As we kind of modeled this out as we did about 6 years ago, where after the process of going through and the district preparing a thorough self-evaluation, or it's now called an institutional self-evaluation report, or ICER, we bring it to the board for this action, as stated at the bottom of your page. And I just want to thank many staff, faculty, and administrators, and students, and board members who helped with this report. I didn't count up the names, but I bet it's 40 or 50 people at least. Kate Mahard has been doing a ton of editing work, along with Will Breitbach as ALO this past year, and others. It's just been a very good process. It helps us really learn about what we're doing, where we think we want to improve, what we've been doing well, all those sorts of things. So it's been a very thorough process. So basically, we're having the board certified that the process was well done. We're doing one final read-through, just looking for typos, that sort of thing. Nothing was substantive, but it'll be posted on the website. And the evidence list, Will, do you know how many calling me here. How many pieces of evidence?
Several hundred, but I
Yeah.
never counted them.
We never counted them up. I was gonna do that, I forgot. But hundreds of pieces of evidence, and we're looking forward to a great visit this fall, first week of October.
Thank you.
So
Do we have a recommendation
I
to?
think it's not a vote of approval, I think it's an acknowledged receipt.
Just acknowledge.
Authorize you to.
Well, yeah, actually, it's, the recommendation is to authorize her.
I can't find my sheet there.
So I move that we authorize Ron and Aaron
There we go.
to certify their participation by the campus community in the preparation of the institutional self-evaluation report. The report accurately reflects the nature and substance of Shasta College.
Thank you. So I
Do
guess
we
motion
need
and a
that?
second, we should probably take a
Okay,
vote.
so we have a motion by Rob, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
You can vote Evan too.
4.2, notice to the public of comprehensive external visit. Dr. Waters.
So one of the things we try to do is, and are required to do, is to try to publicize and let people know that there is opportunity for anyone to make third-party comments to the accreditor as part of this process. And so one of the ways we are doing that actually extra compared to last time is having this agenda item, so there's more publication of this opportunity. And so we have that before you in this agenda item tonight.
Thank you.
4.3, 2017-2018 catalog for the Shasta Tehama Trinity Joint Community College District. Dr. Waters, in for Dr. Reed.
And every year, the Office of Instruction coordinates our catalog. We have a few printed off. We'll be printing more with a nicer binding. It's posted to our website. The link is live, and
Nice.
and that's here for your approval tonight. Was told Dr. Nigro couldn't be here tonight. He's at a curriculum institute conference with a couple of his staff, but it's very similar to last year's catalog and just updates in various areas.
Do we have the summer classes in there?
So this isn't a schedule, this is the catalog. So the schedules are published separately.
But do we have schedule of summer classes in there? Or-
They're published online, separate documents for each term.
I move that the board approve the 2017-2018 Shasta College catalog is presented.
I'll second.
A motion by Scott, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, comments from individual members of the board. Hearing none.
Welcome.
Comments from the audience. Hearing none. Do we have a motion to,
I'll make the motion.
Second.
a motion by Bob, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Take me a second to set up for the 7:12 meeting.
I think there's more.
All right.
More. Thank you. More. Okay.
Thanks, Neil.
Well, it's gonna be a lot, because there's lots of things. Just cross that.
That's last week, we have
Where
Go right down the line, and just check the page, and you'll see how it's qualified. The items themselves are
Call to order the meeting of Board of Trustees for Wednesday, July 12th, 2017. Roll call.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Dr. Lyden?
Present.
Ms. Nair?
Here.
Mr. Pearson? Mrs. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Steinacher?
Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. West?
Please stand for the flag salute.
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good enough.
Introduction of special guest.
We have quite a few special guests tonight. They're going to be introduced in a few minutes under reports, so we'll hold off on introducing them. I do want to welcome Evan Weston, as your first meeting as the new student body president and board and student trustee, so welcome. And also, again, welcome Pat Carr to his first meeting, and that's all.
Call for requests from the audience to speak to any item on the agenda, and I've received a few of the speaker cards, and we will vote. Number 6, reports. Faculty Association, Dr. Whitman.
Yeah, hello. I also want to welcome Evan and Trustee Carr. Want to mention that since 2012, that a article in the Chronicle of Higher Education came out suggesting that the most beneficial, the ideal ratio of faculty to administrator and the most economical is 3:1. This issue of ratios has been a hot issue in higher education. And this article concluded, quote, "An imbalance between administrators and faculty where administrators outnumber faculty is what accounts for the rise in costs." And of course, this Board of Trustees has mentioned, and Trustee Carr, you mentioned in your interviews that cost efficiency is very, very important. So because of this, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, also the Department of Education has created contacts where an institution can go and be audited on what that proper ratio is. And I would encourage the Board of Trustees to follow through with that. And I can provide those contacts if you would be interested. I also want to note that today we had a meeting with an administrator that has been assigned to be the point person in dealing with the union. And I want to report that that was a very positive meeting, and I hope that it's the beginning of a relationship that will benefit students as well as faculty, and certainly our community as well. We have high hopes.
Thank you, Dr. Whitman. Academic Senate, Kathy Anderson.
Not here tonight.
6.3, Classified Employees Association.
Hi, Rhonda. Hi, folks. Welcome, Pat. Evan, it's nice to meet both of you guys. I'm Chris, and I have a short report tonight. I just want to put a thanks to George Estrada. He invited Greg Smith and myself to a couple of their meetings. It was basically a roundtable meeting, and we're kind of getting the new schedule or the different types of schedules that are available for everybody out there, and kind of nailing down what the wording per the new contract and the intent really leads to there. And outside of that, I just want to thank all the physical plant employees. They are doing an amazing job around campus right now. It is a bear of a amount of things they have to do. I just want to give them thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
6.4, Student Senate. Alvin.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank or express my gratitude to both the student body and the academic council for giving me the opportunity to serve as student trustee. Thank you very much, everyone. I have a small report. Student Senate is preparing for the upcoming fall semester. I believe we have 2 blood drives, as well as Constitution Day, costume kickoff, or club kickoff, the Great American Smokeout, and the Giving Tree gift pickup. We're working towards setting up and getting those facilitated. Another topic that I wanted to discuss that we'll be working towards in the Senate is informing the student body about possible alternative energy sources. Our plan is to survey the school and ask students if this is an interest they'd like to see incorporated at Shasta College, as well as if enough support is generated, we would like to move to formulate a plan and approach the board with our ideas. So that's my report. Thank you again, and I look forward to working with you and learning from all of you throughout this next year. So, thank you.
6.5, board members.
I'd like to just touch on the fact we had our retreat last weekend at the Hampton campus, and it's an annual retreat of the board, and it was a really fruitful, meaningful day for all of us. Worked out really well. All of you would have been welcome had anybody been interested in listening to that. But just want to let you know that everything is in good hands and we're headed in the right direction.
I wanted to kind of push the board in the direction of attending the Community College League offerings, and at the various workshops, one of the things I focused on are the people who are homeless. And the San Diego did a very, very great presentation. And I brought you home each a little bit of information. This was very well done, and they gave me all that they could find. So looking at this gives you an idea of the quality of the information that we get. And then, on marketing, this is for Rhonda. This is Excellence in Trusteeship Program. And Rhonda Gott is already a trustee, has also already received that award. So this is the next step, Rhonda, if you want to do it. So anyway, just looking at what we've done and what we do here, it really it will make you realize and see what other people are doing and compare all the work that these guys are doing, and you start looking at it from another point of view. You know, so anyway, I'm pushing 10 the conferences. Thank you. That's it.
6.6, Shasta College Foundation quarterly report. Scott.
Good evening. The burning properties in escrow.
Yeah.
For what use?
You know,
Firewood.
I don't know for sure. I don't know. Yeah, Rob told me that the people were thinking about doing some sort of pharmaceutical thing in there, and then it occurred to me, I don't know if it's going to be a collective.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Seems like it to me.
Yeah.
So it is going up in smoke?
It could be, this could be the final go round. So, and it's in 60-day escrow, and it's in a 1031 tax deferred exchange, and Bruce was the one that put it together at Milton, and I think we feel good about it anyway.
That's a cash deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$60,000.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's as good as we can maybe do. Okay, the community speaker series, I think in some of your information there, you have a picture of Terry Tempest Williams, who will be our 6th community speaker in this series. She's an environmental activist and a writer, a naturalist and an advocate for freedom of speech. She has consistently shown us how environmental issues are social issues that ultimately become matters of justice. Her latest book, called The Hour of the Land, is a personal topography of national parks. I've read part of it, it's really good, and if you saw Ken Burns' series on national parks, there's a draw there, especially I think as we get a little older, to see those things. I feel it.
If we could just remember.
Huh? If we could just remember to do it, there's that. Anyway, she's won, literary awards. She is right now serving as writer-in-resident for the 2017 and 18 academic year at Harvard Divinity School in Cambridge. So I would like to see you all.
When is that, Scott?
It is October 18th.
And
John,
what was the topic, sir?
she's an environmental activist, so to speak, and I'm not sure what she'll speak on for this issue. Where she lives in Utah, they have this park that's sort of being under attack right now called Bears Ears, and there's that issue that she'll maybe speak to. I don't know for sure. But if you Google her, you can see, or I could send you a link and you can see her talk. Johnson Family Foundation, we just received a $10,000 donation from them, and $8,000 designated for projects identified by the Tehama Regents, and $2,000 for the Tehama campus students in need, determined by our foster youth outreach counselor, Idalia Huckman. Since 2009, the Johnson Family Foundation has donated $60,000 to the College Foundation. Tops Service Market Workshop, which I reported last time that we were going to do, we did, and Eva Jimenez organized it. An all-day workshop was taught by Teresa Alexander, and then they took qualified students from Trinity High School, were brought forward in an internship kind of situation at the market, and so I think they ended up hiring 2 of them. But we're going to do more of that, I hope, get other businesses interested in offering an internship, and the high school is pretty excited about it. So we're up and running. The Ken Burns documentary on the Vietnam War, Shasta Stories, the foundation's been partnering with Julie Driver and Ron Keenan at KIXE, Jessica Roan at the McConnell Foundation, Dignity Health, who's a new sponsor of this, community member Mike Dahl, librarian Carolyn Singh, and marketing director Peter Griggs on a project involving a 10-part Ken Burns, Lynn Novick documentary about the Vietnam War. The series will be aired on KIXE on September 7th. Our part of this is we're going to have a panel discussion in our theater with local Vietnam veterans, and they will be, it's a panel discussion. There will be Mike Dahl, ex-mayor, Mike Stewart, ex-superintendent of Shasta High School, I think, if I'm right about that, Greg Caldwell, Abu Bakar Salandin, who is a Muslim, 2 or 3 Purple Hearts in Vietnam guy. Imam.
Yes.
And Mei Chow Lee, who is a lady from the Mien community whose father and mother were in concentration camps in Cambodia before they got to come over here. And real interesting story from their perspective. They fought with the U.S., and then had to relocate over here. We also, we're working with the Lao and the Mien communities who fought for us, and that's part of this. And this also connects Measure H to our future Veteran Support Center. Okay. The Study Abroad program, South Africa this year, this is our third expedition. Susanna Fulton and Dan Scollin are headed to South Africa on July 21st. 26 students are going. Oh, yeah, it's a good group. 11 received scholarships from $500 to $1,200 to assist them with the $4,000 cost of that. Through the McConnell Foundation, 5 students received $2,000 each. And through the Shasta College Foundation, they were lesser ones, but more students, lesser scholarships. They'll get to see animals in their native habitat. They'll also learn about, to help with field research, collecting data that will assist future conservation management plans and wildlife reserves. During the second week, the group will be exploring sand dunes and dive in coral reef habitats on the eastern coast of South Africa, where students will have an opportunity to swim with turtles, dolphins, and whale sharks. The group will be learning about local cultures and will end the expedition with a visit to the South African Cultural Center and Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg before returning home. The McConnell Foundation is committed to funding this program for 5 years at $10,000 a year. We've committed $10,000 a year for each year as we go along, so this year we did again. There will be, these expeditions are taught by PhDs in the field, and it is a hands-on opportunity for our students in the science field. Previous excursions have gone to Honduras and Indonesia. Symphony on the Beach at Brandy Creek, Whiskey Town. We're going to do it again this year. It will be on August 26th at Brandy Creek. I've attended that 2 years now, and it's really a good experience. And many of our students play in the symphony. It's conducted by Dwayne Corbett. Other sponsors include McConnell Foundation, Cornerstone Bank, Bank of Commerce, and Friends of Whiskey Town, and Shasta College Foundation. Guest author Mary Troy will be here in September. English instructor Catherine Calkins will be hosting Mary Troy at Shasta College. Mary will present a series of writing workshops for students and community. All student writers are welcome and encouraged to attend both days. People who have never written anything but want to jumpstart their writing are encouraged to attend. Mary will discuss the key elements of being a writing teacher. She teaches in the MFA program at the University of Missouri. North State Engagement Camp at the Need Camp. Chris Rodriguez and Robert DePaul are the masterminds behind this idea. And they're organizing this, and it's going to be a 3-day camp, kind of an offshoot of the one they went to at the De Anza College. And it's a retreat that teaches how to organize, empowering students to become agents of change and beyond, and how to advocate for what they're passionate about. A bit of a lost art maybe in the civics world today that maybe time to resurrect. So, and I believe Rail is interested in attending. She said, yeah. Pay It Forward marketing flyer you'll see in here. Peter Griggs has just recently finished it. It is our voluntary payroll deduction, and it continues to be important to fund the on-campus programs that we do.
Hey Scott, who's the Johnson family?
You know, they don't want me to tell anybody.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a very shy about it.
Good.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
6.7, Superintendent President, Dr. White.
Just have 2 things tonight. First, Coach Hamilton, you're on.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Thank you for squeezing us in real quick on, I know it's a busy night. I'm Brian Hamilton, the head track and field coach and also assistant football coach. I'll introduce you to Katie Cottrell, who's our assistant head coach in track and field and also our head cross country coach. We just wanted to come by tonight and express our gratitude on behalf of the athletic department and Mike Maury and myself, and specifically the track and field program, for your support this year and all years, and the impact that you guys have helped us make in the lives of the athletes that we're able to coach. This year 2017 was my second year as the head coach of track and field, and we've been able to put together I'm proud of the program we've been able to put together with Katie's help and some other coaches. We had over 50 athletes out this year for the team, so that's tremendous. Our women captured the GBC title, so that's, and on your desk, we wanted to say thank you by... We wanted to say thank you for your support by having the women sign and the coaches sign the championship batons there for you. On the men's side, we also had a first time ever in Shasta College history, a state javelin champion. So Brian Berg out of Maxwell, local.
Where's the signed javelins?
What, I know we were going to bring them. My wife said the same thing. I said, I don't know. But anyway, he'd never thrown the javelin before last year. We don't throw it in high school in California, as you probably know. And he started off his first, just a little bit about Brian, he started off his first event finishing in last place and really throwing it at about 50 feet. And if you know anything about javelin, that's pretty embarrassing. And instead of quitting, with the help of his coach, Taylor Duncan, who does an awesome job there, guys and gals, he kept working hard and believing and stuff, and just missed out on going to state his first year by 3 inches. And this year came back and won the state championship, so that was pretty awesome.
What was the throw?
He threw 188, I believe.
But not only did his best throw win, all 3 of his best throws actually were the first, second, and third. So he won it 3 times. Nobody got close.
And it was and it was a tough day. It was really hot and wind, but he overcame that. It was pretty awesome. And then local young lady, Cassie Young, came into the state ranked 11th in pole vault and just missed winning another state championship by an inch, and took 2nd place. So that was pretty awesome. And we had a couple of other All-Americans. Kate, you want to say something about the women's team?
We went into conference this year as the underdog, and I had just read a quote that said, in order to be an overachiever, you have to be an overbeliever. And so we overbelieved in our girls, and they bought into it, and we ended up destroying everyone. By a lot. And it just goes to show how strong our kids really are when we put all the support that we can behind them. And we really are pretty well supported as a track program at Shasta College, and we recognize that as coaches. And we just want to say thank you.
And our average GPA was around 3.4, and we had, I think, 7 4.0s. And our men only finished 13 points from winning a championship, so we're right there, something to shoot for next year. So we really appreciate it. I want to combine and say thank you very much for the support from the administration, from the board. And you guys really, in partnering with athletics, just change the lives of the young people we get to coach. And so we appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then secondly, I've asked Dr. Kevin O'Rourke to introduce all our special guests.
Yes, hi, thank you. So I'm very pleased. This has been a, am I doing the student services report or am I under?
You're under me.
Okay, so just for this one, I want to talk a little bit about how we've been expanding not only our international student program, but also our global education programs, along with some very invested faculty members. And recently, we have expanded our exchange program where we would send students over to Soon Cheng University in Korea, and then they would have students come here and study in our summer program. And so it was a great program, but there were some things that we wanted to improve on, and one of them was trying to get people more involved in fellowship and camaraderie with their fellow students. And so whenever you're a cohort, either going somewhere else or you're coming here, you tend to kind of stay within your cohort. It may be harder to kind of to break free. And so I want to give a lot of credit to Taylor Mobley, Allie Hancock, and Tina Duena. So this year we've expanded it and created a Global Relations Fellowship. So the idea is we are going to be sending students over to Soon Cheng University in the fall. And so a lot of those students who are setting up or that are applying for that we have had taken applications for the fellowship so they can live in the dorms this summer with the students who are visiting us from South Korea. So they're all living together. We didn't know if we would get any applicants. We had 7 spots, 7 people signed up and accepted it. And so a huge thank you to all the students that came from South Korea to Shasta College. They have been studying and sightseeing like you would not believe. They're studying international business and trade. This is an example of their work. They're also doing work on websites. This is a student-created website that will go into development soon. I would show you through the whole thing, but in the interest of time, check it out if you have a little bit of time, because all the links are incredible with the photography they've put in. And so it's just a really good start to what's going to be, I think, an excellent enhancement to our program. So again, to you students that flew all the way over here, thank you very much. And to you students that may be venturing to South Korea in the fall, best of luck, and hope you guys enjoy your time together. So thank you. And I promised them if they came over, they would not have to stay the entire day. Thank you very much. You can go back to your tour.
안녕하세요.
Okay.
How do you cheap show?
That's my report.
Wow, that was pretty interesting, Joe.
Don't relax too much. That's at 6.8, instruction, Dr. Wise and Dr. Nagel.
Yeah, Dr. Nigro's down, as I said earlier, at State Academic Senate's Curriculum Institute with 2 of the office staff there in instruction, and along with one of our faculty members, the new Curriculum Committee Chair, Scott Yates, out of SLAM Division, and they're learning about the new statewide efforts to streamline the curriculum approval process. So one of the things with Chancellor Oakley coming in, they're really trying to push hard the last 8-9 months to figure out ways of getting it so curriculum can be approved more locally for a lot of the stuff that happens. And so they're learning about all those new processes. He also wanted me to let you know that with the hiring of the new academic staff under 8.3 tonight, we will complete the hiring cycle for full-time faculty. And we have 14 new instructional faculty joining this fall, and it represents a little bit over 10% of the full-time faculty at Shasta College. So we have quite a few new folks coming on board. And lastly, he wanted to remind you that Sweeney Todd, the musical, is opening, or opened last Friday and runs through July 23rd. So if you are interested in that, it was discussed in Thursdays from last week, Date Magazine, and we're using robotic lighting equipment for the first time apparently. So that was one of our area plan initiatives that got funded through our planning process. So that's it.
Thank you. 6.9, student services, Dr. O'Rourke.
Nothing else to report. Just wanted to share with you.
Thank you. 6.10, administrative services, Mr. Roderick.
Yeah, nothing extra tonight, just the budget to actuals for you. If you take a look on page 6 of the board agenda, you'll find it there. If you look at the top, we always have that sort of mark of where we should be if we divided each month equally. Better numbers are down below at the bottom. We're tracking at 81.91%. Last year at this time, we're 83.18%, so we're tracking nicely in terms of how we should finish the year. One thing that's always interesting at this point in time, if you look at academic instruction at the upper right corner, the very top, see we're at 101%. Remember that particular group, 10-month contracts, so that's why we're sitting at that. Anyway, any questions? Nope. Thank you.
Approval of minutes, Dr. Wise.
As was pointed out earlier in the evening, there was one mistake on the item 7.1 minutes, and I think what happened, if you look at the motion on page 2, the date shouldn't have been put in there. July 3rd, 2017, it got accidentally added when we were writing up the minutes. So with, I don't know if you see any other corrections that need to be made before you approve them. Okay.
So do we approve each minutes individually, is that correct? 7.1, minutes of special meeting of the board held June 5th, 2017.
Move approval? Do we need to
With the
make a correction? Okay.
Second.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Rayola. Any further discussion? All in favor?
And I abstain.
Bob abstained. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7.2, minutes of the special meeting, number 1 of the board held on June 14th, 2017.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 7.3, minutes of special meeting number 2 of the board held June 14th, 2017.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bob, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7.4, minutes of the regular meeting of the board held on June 14th, 2017.
Move approval?
Corrections. I have,
We should
page,
get a second first.
Oh,
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion by Scott, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion?
okay, page 2 of the, of that particular, and that's 6.5, and that's of the minutes. Page 19. Okay, here it is, 6.5, anyway, it says in here, attended sessions, and actually I attended board meetings and elections. So that's not what it, they're aside from the workshops. So, and then I have another correction over here. Okay, page 16. The first paragraph, Dr. Wise said it was untrue and that we went through our priority. I think that needs to be added. You were
Not sure I understand.
okay. We had Dr. Whitmer was making some statements, and you indicated that it was untrue and that we went through a participatory process.
Where are we? You mean add?
Yes, what after Dr. White said.
Yes, it needs to add.
That's untrue, and we went through our preparatory process. And that's it.
I'm attempting to locate.
It's on page 33.
Page 33, okay. Yes.
I don't remember what I said.
I do.
But if you say I said it, I'll believe it.
Any further discussion? Noted corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent action agenda. And I will read, there is one correction on item 8.3, personnel items, employment, academic staff, page 46. Ms. Blondal was referred to as Ms. Stewart in her description. Dr. Wise. Oh, I have
And I
other
think you
people
probably have
that
speaker
are, I have a lot of speaker cards on this today. So we will start with 8.1, and why don't we start with that?
Wow, thank you. You break the seal. I'm just going to kind of bounce around. I was just reflecting on the classified retirements. There's almost 80 years worth of service here. And just to speak to Leanne, she's someone that can cover so many bases at one time. She can be a representative, she can be a director, she can be a technician, she can do it all. She is an amazing person. And Gail, oh my gosh, how many people has she come in contact with over the years? How many positive nods that she's given to faculty and staff and students on a great day or a bad day. She empowers us all to be inspired by her willpower and her giving nature. I really appreciate every time I've had a conversation with you. And lastly, and far from leastly, Sherry, who eats up most of that 80 years of service there. 41. I have my dear friend Scott. At one point, he goes, "Have you met Sherry?" I'm like, "Well, really, I haven't. I don't get out of my lab too much." But he and Sherry are dear friends, and he just went on and on about Sherry. And if you guys know Scott Crows, you know he can. He's a good color guy, and he had so many wonderful things to say about Sherry. And then you talk to other people about Sherry, and you hear that giving, that loving, and understanding, and that person that makes everybody feel at home, that we're all communicating in the same way and going in the same direction. And I just want to thank you, Sherry, for all those students that you've helped all throughout the years and the colleagues that you've given a smile on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More?
All right. I also would like to thank our classified folks. I want to talk about Gail. She's admin services, cafeteria, and as Chris was saying, she's just been a positive voice and presence representing the food services over there for years, 25 years. And from the time I was a fresh-faced faculty member walking in here 18 years ago to now, she's always been in there. So it's great to see her being able to go off into retirement, and just appreciative of all the work she's done. And I also would like to thank Sherry back there for all the work that she's done. I appreciate how she's works well with all the different areas on campus, and we'll miss her.
Thank you, Morris.
Was there anything there?
So as we welcome incoming people, Evan, Dr. Yu, our intern Slam Dean, we're sad to see people exit the college. And Gail, thank you so much for being so sweet. Both of my children were fortunate enough to go to the ECE here, and every time they would come into the cafeteria, she was so kind to them, and so I'll never forget that. Thank you. Leanne Williams, I don't think Leanne is here tonight, but I just wanted to say a word about Leanne. She has an underrated sense of humor, and so if you ever spend some time with Leanne, she will make you laugh. And she was very grounding for me when I first came here. I started in admissions and records, and then I moved over across the mailroom. And she was always a go-to person that whenever I was feeling somewhat frustrated, and she used to tell me, "You take your job too seriously sometimes, Kevin." And I remember this email that she sent me one time, I'll never forget it. It was just a simple quote, it's a famous one, but it says, "Only in educational institutions, never before have such great battles been fought over so little." And so she would send that to me when I was her way, telling me that I need to calm down. So I really want to thank Leanne for her service. And then the lady in the back, I can't turn around, I'll start crying. And so I can't. Sherry, when I first started here, Sherry, our transcript paper didn't even have the Shasta College watermark on it. And so she spent a lot of her time fielding phone calls from our transfer students going, somebody's trying to submit a fake transcript, from Shasta College. And so the amount of calls and the way that she just dealt with things was unbelievable. I was trying to think of some words to describe Sherry: selfless, student-focused, nurturing. She was loyal and proud to be at Shasta College. She's had some personal challenges. I can't say 42 years.
I'd like to say a few words too. Gail, I mean, the first day, working with you, I think I started in 1990 or something, and I think you started close to it. We started like a few weeks, I can't remember which year, I'd have to look. But you just made everybody that met you just like you've known them forever. And it was so fun to come in with your great sense of humor, and you just made food services really, just a highlight. And I had to stop by several times a day to see what was going on, and so appreciate your service. And thank you, and such good luck in your retirement. I'm sure you'll have lots and lots of adventures. You're killing me, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
Sherry is like one of my best friends, and known her when she was on maternity leave when I first kind of filled in for her with the Brockster, and so that. How old is Brock now? So 24 years old. She is a role model for being a mom, an employee, a friend, a courageous warrior in her latest journey. And I just love you so much and wish you all the best in the future in your family. Thank you, Sherry.
Are there any more cards on 8?
No, not on 8.1, but we'll go down to...
I need to add on for Sherry. I'm just going to miss you, Sherry. Every once in a while she'd email me and say, your chair's lonely. Come see it. So I knew it'd been a couple weeks since I talked to you. So, and you always encouraged me, and we're a safe place. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Gail, you broke me in as vice president.
Thank you.
I knew if I had to figure something out in food services, you'd let me know if I asked. So it's really a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you for your service.
It's been a real pleasure working here at the college. I'm going to miss everybody tremendously, and the students. I want to thank this college for letting me enhance my life by meeting all the students and co-workers and stuff that I have. It's just been a really great opportunity, and if I could physically keep going, I would, because I love this place. But I'm not going to walk away. I'm taking classes next semester. I don't want to go through withdrawal, so this way I'm kind of weaning my way out. So you'll see me around. But thank you, everybody. It's been an honor to work here.
Thank you, Gail. Sherry, did you want to have any comments tonight?
I don't know if I can. I'd just like to say thank you also. We've got the best administration ever right now. Thank you for all the opportunities you've given me. There's no place I'd rather be than working at Shasta College. So thank you all very much.
Going down the consent agenda to 8.3. Did I have 8.3?
Yes, I just didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. 8. Whitmer, 8.
Yeah, it has to do with stipends once again. As we mentioned last meeting, there is a problem with the process of the Faculty Association being notified of stipends via the board meeting. The first problem is basically what this is bargaining unilaterally, because the dollar amounts are being submitted, not negotiated, And also, that means then that we have to bargain with the board. And as you stated, that is something that violates the Brown Act. As you read earlier in this year, that's not something that you want to do. The Faculty Association has requested to be informed on all stipends, and that has been received by the Vice President of Human Resources, but that is not being followed. So I would encourage you to put off approving these stipends until that process is followed.
Concerns noted. Going down to 8.6.
Once again, there are grants being mentioned, but again, those have not been negotiated. It's an unfair labor practice to bargain around the agency.
Thank you.
Excuse me, that was item 8.6?
Yes.
Oh, 8.6. Oh. Okay, 8.7, ratification of contracts and agreements.
Yes, okay, on page 59, at the Chancellor's Office, Students' Right to Know, I was wondering, I wanted a little more information about that. I mean, there's a nice little,
Which one was that, sorry?
okay.
The Chancellor's Office.
Chancellor's, the CCC, Chancellor's Office, and that agreement. And I was wondering if we get like student services or numbers of paid. I want to know how many students are served or how many instructors are paid. How do what is going on there? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, it's
yeah. So the student right to know is it's kind of a subscription agreement with the state. So we report our MIS data to them, our term data and annual data, and then what they do is they report that back out via their the reporting website. The name's escaping me now. The Data Mart, via the Data Mart on their website. And then we can also download that data back to our institution and use it for processing. The other piece of this is they report data to the feds on our behalf based through this agreement. If we didn't have this agreement with them, we'd have to report that data on our own to the feds. So it's got a few things wrapped up in it.
Okay, I just didn't understand that, so thank you. I do it now. I want a little more information on the Chico Research Foundation, the next item.
Oh,
The top. The next page.
So this is an agreement through our Deputy Sector Navigator grants that we have in the ag area, and we're contracting with their research foundation because they have some expertise in this area of being able to survey some of the natural resource companies and other areas to get us information so we can better serve them. And so we're using them because we serve 7 community colleges through this grant in the 10 or 11 northern counties. And so it's kind of a much bigger area, and they have the expertise to help us.
And then you send that information back out to your...
And then we use that for all those colleges to help us
Okay.
for how to provide better services. That's my understanding.
Okay, then I'm down to Feather River's hands-off teaching. What's that?
The hands-on teaching. Again, this is through the EWD grants, and this we have quite a few little subcontracts we use to serve the 7 different colleges. So I think it's kind of they probably proposed wanting to do this through our agriculture grant. I think I have to double check on that, but I think that's what it is. And they made this proposal and it's being funded because the money comes to us and then goes out to help various colleges.
Thank you.
And we're, for these 3 deputy sector navigator grants, we're required to have, by the chancellor's office, an administrator who works to serve all these colleges.
Okay, the next page. 1, 2, 3. And this is just a little thing. The Grenada Rehab and Wellness Center.
Well, that's for our dietary services
So that's-
supervisor
that's-
program. That's like a clinical training agreement.
Okay,
standard
I didn't
agreement.
know, I mean, just, I'm from Siskiyou County and Grenada is a little tiny place.
Yeah, it's probably someone who works there was doing our online program and requested to be able to do their practicum there. It's most
Okay.
likely what happened.
Okay. Okay, no, I have things I'm saying I like. Okay. Oh, and then, the Shasta County, Step Up, I heard a broadcast, praising the program and, its potential to help and correct, and there was just, they were talking about that program, and I thought that was really nice and very important, and to have it praised, I think they need to know that. Oh, then on the next page, I want to know, where's Trinity? On the very first Shasta County and Shasta
Trinity's to
Tehama
the west.
Education
No.
Program.
We're actually in a conversation with exploring something that might work with Trinity. What happened was the Tehama people approached us and wanted to partner mimicking the Step Up, so we're in that expansion.
Is this something you told me about, Kevin, some time ago?
No, and then we were contacted by a state corrections person wanting to explore through the fire camps and things at Trinity if there was any way we could help serve them. So
Yeah, and-
we actually are in process on exploring that.
Okay, that's great, because in the foundation, you know, we have one of our regents is, you know, interested in the fire thing, and we have talked to them, so I would imagine you're working with them.
So it's just exploring right now, and that we'll see where it goes.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion by Bob, seconded by Loyola. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion action agenda. 9.1, public hearing for Shasta Tehama between the Joint Community College District and Shasta College Faculty Association academic contract. Article reopeners 2017, 2018, year of the contract. And I will move at this time to open the public meeting,
Public hearing.
public hearing. Hearing no discussion, I will now close the public hearing. 9.2, authorization to establish a pool of qualified architectural firms for future bond projects. Mr. Rogers?
All right, back in March, we had an RFQ out to solicit architects for potential bond projects. We had a group that got together and did some screening, and then interviews were conducted in June, and 4 firms from that committee were forwarded as potentials for future bond projects. So what we're asking for you to approve is to enter into 5-year master agreements with these 4 particular architectural firms. And then with the and those essentially set up the opportunity to offer them projects. So even though they're in a master's agreement, that doesn't mean they're getting a project at that point, but then they would be able to, there's a secondary agreement that would attach if we provide a proposal or if we accept a proposal for one of the projects that have to happen. So anyway.
They're qualified, they're on the list and.
Right, so basically,
Time.
that's the pool that we would be seeking from for bond projects, for traditional bond projects. So if it ends up being what we call a design build, which we've never done here, we kind of explored a little bit, there is a separate process that occurs for that, so different actions that occur.
So other than Nichols and Melbourne, I'm not familiar where the other.
Lionakis is the one that did the Tehama campus.
Okay.
Right? And then Nichols, Melbourne, of course, has done some of the buildings here. And then George, you might have the other two.
TBP, I think, is from Rockland, and JK is from San Francisco. We haven't worked with those other two. They were highly recommended, and the references came in very high also.
Thank you.
So what we're asking is that you authorize us to enter into master agreements, noting that they're not enforceable until ratified, and then also allow us to enter into what we call it, specific project agreements, once again noting that they are not enforceable until ratified.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Rob, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.3, authorization to continue agreement with Shasta College Foundation.
I think this is self-explanatory. We've done this for a number of years, and you saw a great report earlier tonight from the foundation.
Move it.
Second.
Okay. I move acceptance.
I have a motion by Rayola, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion?
Yeah, question. What have we done historically? I know costs of things go up, and I'd like to be able to stay where we can provide the same level or maybe even improve what we're doing. When was the last time we increased that amount?
Well, we keep decreasing it. because we.
The hope is, in my mind, eventually the foundation will grow enough to where we won't do this at all, and they'll still be providing wonderful things for us. The way we've actually augmented it recently is by helping funnel certain grant monies for them to be fiscal agents for, and then there's a small percentage they keep for the overhead, and that actually has brought in extra, some extra money to the foundation.
So that's what we've been doing to stay competitive.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
So I have a motion by Rayola, but I don't have did I have a second?
Okay.
Second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.4, approval of revised JPA agreement and bylaws for the Northern California Community Colleges Self-Insurance Authority, NCCC-SIA. Mr. Roderick.
All right, we're in a number of JPAs. This particular Joint Powers Authority, we're in specifically for our workers' comp insurance. And so these risk pool JPAs, whether it be our liability insurance or our workers' comp or our health insurance, all those different types of JPAs that we're parts of, they undergo CJAPA accreditation. And so CJAPA basically provides the gold standard for a risk pool. And so in order for this group to maintain that level of accreditation, they need to make some adjustments to their agreements. So we're recommending that you approve the revisions.
Approval.
Second that.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.5, approval of Shasta County Trinity Adult Education Consortium District Representatives.
We brought this to you before with some changes in personnel, and so at this point we would like me to remain as the primary representative and Dr. Frank Nigro to serve as the backup, and self-explanatory.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Bob, seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.6, adoption of resolution number 2017-18-01 to excuse absence of governing board member. Dr. Weiss?
I think this is self-explanatory.
Move it. I'll second it.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion?
Abstain, Rayola.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.7, second reading of revised or new board policies, administrative procedures. Dr. Whitman?
Yeah, there are several that, once again, speak to wages, hours, and working condition, but again, the faculty association is absent in the language. So I'm referring to AP 7120, having to do with hiring policies. Board policy 7160, again, there needs to be mention of including the faculty association in the process. AP 7160, again, some of these are not just 10+1, but also wages, hours, working conditions. Once again, the faculty association needs to be included. AP 7337, fingerprinting and requirement of people as a condition to be hired to pay for that. Again, that's a compensation issue. So again, all these policies are circumventing the negotiation process. When they have to deal with wages, hours, working conditions, when there are changes to it, you've got to bring it before the negotiation team.
Okay, concerns noted.
Move approval.
Second.
Dr. Weiss?
Approval of the policies and then the procedures of review.
9.8. Oh, I have, sorry. We have a motion, and it was by Scott. And who was second? And Rob. A motion by Scott, seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.8, grants. Perkins for Title I C and CTE Transitions Grant. Dr. Wise.
So every year, there's a non-competitive Perkins grant, and you can see the information before you. We're anticipating $339,140, and there's a process where we figure out where that's all being spent, mostly on equipment. But you can see kind of the 5 things where it is meant to improve our outcomes. So I recommend that the board approve the grant.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Bob, seconded by Rayola. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Other business, 9.9, income and expenditures, cash basis. Mr. Roderick.
All right, this is our regular item we bring for you on income and expenditures. From a cash flow perspective, we're doing well. Beginning cash balance at 17.3 million, ending at almost 15 million. We're just recommending that you approve the income and expenditures on cash basis.
I second.
Second.
Motion by Bob, seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.10, approval of retainer agreement for legal services with School and College Legal Services of California for the 2017-18. Mr. Robert.
This is one of our legal groups that we use. We've been using them for years. We're recommending that you approve a retainer agreement for legal services of school and college legal services of California.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Bob. Oh,
Do you consider that we may need to have more than 30 hours of service, in as much as we're dealing
Well,
with all
we
the-
have a variety of firms. We've actually been using this one less. So I use this one primarily
Okay.
for contracts and those type of things. And so we've reduced the amount to reflect what this firm typically would use.
Okay, thank you.
And we can add hours. It's easier to add hours than it is to overbuy at the beginning of the year.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.11, approval of retainer agreement for special services for Atkinson, Allison, Goya, Rude, and Roma for the 2017-18. Mr. Rogers.
All right, this is another legal firm that we use, and we're recommending to approve agreement for special services with Atkinson, Anderson, Boyd, Rubber.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ray Ola, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.12, approval of addendum to agreement with Workers Consultants Incorporated. Mr. Rogers. Well, first, Dr. Whitmer, I have you down for on this.
Yes, thank you. The background says, with the passage of Measure H, the district is in the planning stages for the projects will be funded by the bond. Is the fire grounds one of those projects?
Mr. Rogers?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
For this particular agreement, or for, or are you talking about for planning stages for the entire Measure H?
Both.
This agreement is for the remainder of the campus, and the other, and yes, in terms of the fire training ground, that's one of the items that we're looking at.
Okay. So does that mean then, as part of that planning process, district administration has determined that initial study, mitigation negative declaration is necessary to complete the district's facility master
Okay.
plans for the campus?
Dr. Whitmer, hold those thoughts. Keep them now that you've expressed your concerns or your question.
Well, I haven't yet.
And of
You
course-
did.
You did. And then just hang on to
No, I expressed
that.
one of them, not the second one.
Hang on to that till our public comment, so we don't. Can you just hold on that till we get to the end? To public comments,
Okay.
okay? Thank you. So, do we have a motion for 9? Oh, we want to, sorry, Morris.
So this agreement is to look at the remainder of the campus for
Interior.
interior. So basically, different potential buildings that we might be sprouting up in areas of other projects. So that we'll be looking at having them do that all at one time instead of at individual projects at a time. So it'll save us money in the long run by looking at the whole campus or the interior of the campus as a whole. So we're recommending that the board authorize the district to amend that the previous purpose agreement to incorporate this component.
Would you tell us a little bit more about the purpose? It doesn't have anything but one woman's name. Where is it?
Okay, so Steve Towers is the primary. You hire him as a consultant to come in and be the lead on these type of projects. So he's the one that we use for the
Tama campus.
Yeah, Tama campus, for the fire training grounds. I believe for the solar field.
Yeah, I think so.
Solar field. And so this is, we're recommending to continue using his services for the interior of the campus.
Okay, I just thought that this was very void of information.
Well, it's because we're amending, if you take a look back, there's more information after you pass the next page. So, scope of services, exhibit B.
Well, I know I did see the scope of services, but what I didn't actually see was who the operations.
Corcus is the firm, but Steve Towers is the person that does the work.
Okay. Thank you.
And Quercus is Latin for oak.
I see those oak leaves. But that's not very much information. 2 oak leaves, that's double the information, I guess.
What if they've been poisoned? No.
hard to identify that we have at least 3 kinds here in this area. Okay,
Do we have a motion?
move acceptance.
I'll second that.
A motion by Rayola, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion?
Yes?
Hold till public comments again. This is,
No, I think point of order is that with the Brown Act, comments are before you vote, to inform that vote. You can't
Then I
delay
would
the
limit
comments
it,
until
I would
after you
advise the
voted.
board to limit it to comments and not questions and interchanges, because you're here to hear and then make a decision based on your discussion.
But you can't deny someone who wants to speak before the board, which is what you're doing.
I think 2 minutes is appropriate.
okay, so we had a motion by Rayola, seconded by Bob. All in favor? Oh, we already let him make his
I
vote.
think 2 minutes would be appropriate.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Dr.
So,
Whitmer,
no, it's
go ahead.
okay, back to the background, it says, as part of the planning process, district administration has determined that initial study mitigation negative declaration is necessary to complete the district's facility master plan to the main campus. So is this $45,000 part of that mitigation negative declaration? And if it's including the fire grounds, I thought, my understanding was that the board already passed that mitigation or accepted accepted the findings from that process. So am I to understand that that $45,000 is to pay for those services or pay new services regarding the fire grounds?
You can answer that.
But you
Oh.
want to go,
Oh.
I'm just waiting the board's direction. We can answer it if you would like us to. It's-
Please answer.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
and
no,
and
this
George.
is- This is for the interior of the campus and is separate from the fire training grounds. It's just using the same firm and extending the agreement to do the interior of the campus. So it's separate, a whole entire separate project.
And this is the second time you told us that. Okay.
So can I just ask, I mean, was that a harmful question to ask?
Not at all?
Okay,
No.
thank you.
No, thank you, Dr. Whitmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.13, authorization to enter into agreement with
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
All right. So there was a 21st Century Skills program started in 2012 at Feather River through the New World Work Initiative. And so this initiative is funded through California Community College Chancellor's Office. And Shasta College is basically now the lead on this initiative. Is that correct, Joe?
For statewide, yeah.
For the statewide. So this is a LinkedIn agreement as part of that statewide project where students have the opportunity to have access to.
Well, what are the top 10 skills for 21st century employment?
I don't think we have an expert here today.
Well, without Evan here, I don't know if I can name them, but it's
Well, name
focused on the
some.
soft skills. You know, how you hear employers all the time talk about, well, they learned something in college, but they didn't learn how to show up on time, or how to dress appropriately, or how to communicate well, or different things like that. And so it's focused on a curriculum to help students be prepared for meeting expectations of employers.
Yeah, well, that's very good.
So I don't have all 10.
Well,
yet.
that's pretty good.
And to be able to be on the cutting edge and the lead with this, that's just amazing, that's awesome.
And part of this grant that has been accepted by the board does require 2 managers by the state to be, because they're traveling around to all 113 community colleges, to work with all the colleges to present this curriculum.
Yes, it's awesome.
And we're recommending that the board authorize the district to enter into the agreement with LinkedIn.
Hey, I would like to talk to you about the font on LinkedIn. Could you identify the size of that font?
Small.
Oh, very small. Okay.
I move that we authorize the district to enter into that agreement.
So, Scott,
Was that wrong?
yeah.
Motion by Rob, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9.14, authorization to dispose of surplus electronic equipment. Mr. Rogers?
Right, it's our standard item that periodically shows up. We'd like to recycle some old equipment and need your approval to do that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Bob, seconded by Loyola. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Did you get one of those deals with a braille from Bosser?
I looked at those things to see if there's anything I thought I needed, it didn't look like it.
That'd be awesome. Did they change the grill?
Trust me, if it's on our recycle list or to get rid of list,
It's on.
it is well used.
Yes.
So all the bumps are worn out.
Number 10, announcements. 10.1, future regular board meeting dates, August 9th, 2017, September 13th, 2017, October 11th, 2017. Number 11, comments from individual members of the board.
Yes. Joe, I commend you for saying what you think, according to my addition to the minutes.
Any other comments from the board? 12, comments from the audience. We will now recess to closed session to consider, discuss, and or take action upon any of the following consent items. 13.1, California Government Code Section 48912, consideration of student suspension or other disciplinary action, not expulsion. 13.2, California Government Code Section 54957, public employee discipline, dismissal, release. And 13.3, California Government Code Section 3549.1, collective bargaining session. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the
Hey, Scott. Second.